This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Dave Coldwell over Zoom once again. Dave, congratulations on a successful weekend for yourself. Let's start off with Hopey Price. Impressed with what you saw from him?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, he handled the whole last minute multiple last minute opponents job really, really well. It was disappointing because he was wanting a big test in saying 16-1. Then we got Uriel Lopez. It was a massive test for him. And then another tough, good Mexican. And then we ended up with a guy that was so small. I mean, listen, I'm short, but when we went to the center ring, I was taller than the other guy. So, yeah, that's always awkward for a tall fighter. But I thought he handled it really well. The things that we're working on in the gym with him with his inside game, I thought he did really, really well in there when he Mendoza got on the inside. So yeah, and he pulled out some lovely counters to show his class. But yeah, it was all part of the education, all part of the development, and he did a great job. I'm really happy with him.
The likelihood is, Dave, I hope he may probably never face somebody as short as what Mendoza was again in his career.
No.
But having come through that test, what do you think are the best positives or the biggest positives Hope he can take away from dealing with what was a very awkward opponent on the night who was coming in very low?
Not getting frustrated and sticking to it, and count how many times he actually got hit even on the inside when Mendoza. If you look at Mendoza, he throws a lot of punches. He does throw a lot of punches, but he wasn't allowed to. He wasn't allowed to at range. And then when he got in close, when he rushed in, he got in close and Hope he managed those moments as well, which is very important for a tall, rangy fighter, because he showed in the first couple rounds against Johnny Phillips. And then he showed in this fight as well that when they do get on the inside, he knows how to shut them down and he knows how to cope with that. And he was digging little shots on the inside himself. Again, it's part of his experience. That was his fourth pro fight. He's 20 years old. All these little things that he has to deal with under the lights in weird circumstances with no crowds and things like that. All these things that he has to deal with in each fight adds to his game. And 20 years old, he's a very, very good kid. Very, very good kid. And his temperament is fantastic, because although it was scrappy and it wasn't, it wasn't to look at, it wasn't great, but in there he's learning as it's going along. And like I said, the stuff that you have to learn in clinches and up close are very, very valuable for when you step up. So it was good. He didn't get frustrated. He stuck with it, and he did a great job.
What's next for Hopey, Dave? There's a lot of talk about kind of people in the same bracket as Hopey, people like Dalton Smith, for example, who are very early stages of their career, stepping through the ranks maybe a bit quicker than previous fighters, especially because of the situation with COVID and what have you. But what is next for Hopey? Is the plan to try and get the Zahid Hussein fight next again, or?
Yeah, if he wants to take it, yeah. But I mean, a lot of things offer people that. Sorry, I lost. Something's ringing there. Maybe a lot of things off a lot of people saying that he doesn't really want it. Maybe he'll look at that the other night and think maybe he does want it. But yeah, we'd like that fight again, rescheduled and to go ahead. If not, then people around that sort of level. And I need fighters that are coming to win against Soapy, because that's the experience he's going to get. There's no point in having the high quality sparring that he's getting and learning in the gym and then fighting guys that are just going to run and go on the back foot and not give him any problems. Mendoza was 2 foot tall, coming forward and coming in with the head and things like that. It's part of his education. I'm not moaning about it. That's part of the education. You're going to fight rough fighters when you step up. You've got to be able to handle it. And I thought he handled it really, really well. I want fighters that are trying to actually win and are capable of throwing punches at him. They're the guys where you're going to see him develop more. You're going to see him take more away from those fights, and you're going to see the best of him as well.
I don't know whether anything's been put out or not. I haven't seen anything, but what was the case with regards to Zahid Hussein pulling out of the fight, especially on such short notice, Dave?
Said he got tonsillitis.
Okay.
At least it weren't COVID.
All right, Dave. Moving forwards once again. Moving on to Lee Wood. Very happy man. I imagine you are for Lee. I know how much Lee's wanted that British title for a long time now. But how did you assess his fight with Reece Mould? It was a very good fight up until obviously the point of a stoppage.
Yeah, it was a good fight. But Lee was always about making Mould work harder than he had to, and he was setting him up. It was comfortable. He was getting to grips with a new style as well. So it took him a few rounds to really get that confidence, and what you're doing is working. Once he started seeing a few reactions in Reece, then I think that sort of just boosted his confidence. And then obviously, as soon as he hurt him, then you slowly, really sort of just relax up a little bit more. But I thought it was a very good performance. I thought he did really well. It's his first camp. It's only been 8 weeks with Ben. It's always hard when you move to a new trainer and you're doing new things. But I thought his base was very good. I thought the way he was throwing his punches was much better. So I'm over the moon for him. But that British title, that's a massive thing for him. He's wanted that all along. He went into the tournament with the MTK because there was a British title in line, and he thought he was going to get hold of that. So he's now British champion. That's ticked a massive box for him. He mentioned to me the other day, since he's been with me, management wise, he's had 6 fights and 6 title fights. So he's very, very happy.
What is next for Lee, Dave? Because he has been mentioned the fact that he's 32 now, and I know he's got loftier ambitions than just the British scene.
Yeah.
Do you think the plan will be to try and have 1 or 2 defences, or effectively vacate and try and move quickly?
Things are very difficult because of the pandemic. So a lot of things are up in the air, but what we're going to try and do is try and make a big fight. And, try again, it's like what I'm saying about Jordan, about Hopey, about everybody, is you can't, in this pandemic, if you're wanting to get to there and you're currently here, you can't use your slots up to stay around here. You've got to make the jumps to get you closer to your end game. So it's not really conducive to that for Lee to have just a defense against whatever, against whoever domestically, that's just going to keep him at the same level. He needs to try to get some get bigger fights, and that's what we're going to try and do.
Moving away from Lee, but before we come on to Jordan, just to stick with the card from this past weekend, Dave, obviously the shock of the night, Josh Warrington losing to Maurizio Lara. Just your thoughts on the fight?
As a fan, you're watching it, wow, what a fight. But also tempered with the fact that from round 4 onwards, it was horrible to watch. I didn't enjoy watching that from round 4. I didn't like that because Josh's legs never returned after that knockdown. And watching a fight with no legs isn't really great. We all like to see a tear up, but when fighters are, fully in control themselves as such. So it was a bit uncomfortable to watch for me. But tremendous balls and heart, unbelievable grit and determination. But Lara was given a chance to use his assets, and he did, and we knew going in there that it was tough. We knew going in there that it was heavy-handed, but we also knew that it wasn't, look at him on the pads, look at his feet, it wasn't at that sort of level if the fighter at that level uses his attributes. But I don't think Josh did. I just think Josh traded his superior assets to use the assets that are conducive to Lara's style. Stood in front of him, exchanged, thought he was going to bang him out there and out Mexican a Mexican. And unfortunately, it was a bad night for him. But he's safe, he's all right, he's healthy, and he'll learn from that.
There's a lot of talk, kind of not just after the fight, but during the fight, as to whether or not the referee should have stopped it in the 4th round, or maybe his team should have pulled him out a bit sooner. Your thoughts, Dave?
The ref has a split second judgment to make something when a fighter gets up, or the way that it goes down. Some fighters, some refs will just jump straight in. Some will give you a chance. It's difficult to say when you're not in that position. I would have thought that if you've let him go on, he was wobbling. But if you let him go on because it's the end of the round, let him go back to corner. Have a look at him how he gets up the next round, few seconds in, see if his legs. Yeah, but he's got a different viewpoint to what we have where we're at. And plus, I think I'll be honest with you. I think George Grove said it once. I think it was on the ring apron after he boxed Carl Froch the first time. We have this perception of certain fighters where if you're a fighter that doesn't get hit often and it works on skills defensively, every time they do get touched, it's like you make a point. Oh, he got hit there. Oh, he got caught with a shot there. But it might be 3 times in a round. Whereas a guy that is popping, you don't mention about the amount of times that he's getting hit as he's just walking forward, is getting touched. When it comes to a fighter that's seen as to have got a bit of a warrior mentality, a good chin, strong, never been hurt, we tend to think that they can absorb more because that's what we see, that you give them more of a chance when they're in that sort of hard fight. Do you understand what I mean? And if that had been a slick boxer that had all of a sudden get caught and he's wobbled all over the place, I think the fight would have been stopped. But because it's somebody with that reputation of having a great chin, strong, involved in great fights all the time, I think we give them a little bit more chance to take punishment, really, more chance to come back round. You think, oh, he'll come back round, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's subconsciously. But George Grove said it. He said because he had the reputation of being a little bit chinny, as soon as he got wobbled, it's like, oh, protect him. Whereas a Carl Froch or, a Warrington maybe, good fighters have bounced shots off the chin before and had no reaction. So you perceive them to be very, very durable and you allow them to have that chance of coming back maybe more. Maybe not. I don't know. But corner point of view, again, it's great. Hindsight's great. But me personally, because he didn't have the legs under him, and because then when he went back out, if you're going to say, go on then, I'm going to give you this round, but get through the round, be safe. And if he'd have gone into a defensive sort of mode, trying to get through the round with as little punishment as possible, so he can regain his legs and regain his senses, then yes, I can understand why you'd let him just try and get through it defensively. But he didn't. He was going out there straight to exchange and he was taking shots straight away. I had no thought about just getting through the round, really. So you got to pull him. But if you're asking me personally, would I have pulled him out? Yes. Soon as he's tottering about, you got to pull him out. But that's me, and they know their fighter more. I don't know Josh Warrington. It's very easy to say when you don't know the fighters, but they know, they're an experienced corner and they know what they was looking at, and they made their choices.
How difficult do you think Sean O'Hagan, Josh's father, and his cornerman would have found that? Because there have been criticisms of whether he should have been pulled out or not, but at the same time, nobody would know Josh better than his own father. How difficult do you think he would have found it on the night?
Obviously, that's his son. Forget about being his son. As a coach, that to watch that happen to your fighter is devastating. It's not what you want to see, but that's his son. So it's got to be even worse. But as I said, it's all right saying, yeah, I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to be hard on it, because, like I said, I'm not in that position. It's all right for us with hindsight saying, "Oh, I should have pulled him out. I'd have pulled him out." They said, "No, I know I would have pulled him out." When Jordan Gill was, I knew it was just weren't right with him against Tinoco. I pulled him out. I've pulled fighters out before when I just think no, or they're not right, or they're hurt or whatever. Yes, they know his son and everything like that, but it's the punishment he's taking. It doesn't matter how much you know your fighter, the punishment you're taking while you've got no legs under you, that's damaging. So again, I don't know how to dress it up. I would have pulled him out, but it wasn't me that was there, and it wasn't me that knows the fighter. So like you said, they know the fighter very well. So, and again, in the heat of the moment and everything like that, they've got, I don't know. It's easy to go around in circles and just waffle on, isn't it?
Dave, just one other thought on that card I want to touch on. Obviously, a controversial one, the one between Zelfa Barrett and Kiko Martinez. The scorecards again coming in for criticism. Eddie Hearn after the fight came out and kind of hit out the scoring that we're seeing in some fights across the UK at the minute. Just your thoughts on the cards and how you saw the fight.
Same as everybody else, really. That there always seems to be scorecards where it just looks like, wow, eh? I thought, I'll be honest with you, I thought Zelfa looked over at me and says, "What do you think?" And I was like that, because I thought it was really, I thought it was a draw or Kiko won it. I thought Kiko nicked it, to be honest. And I thought at best, I thought Zelfa got a draw. But I thought it was from where we were, and it's weird. It is weird how a fight can look different on TV. But there was a lot of shots that, I haven't watched it back, but there was a lot of shots that you'd have Zelfa literally just flicking, touching, or Kiko just riding and catching him on the gloves. But then you'd have Kiko bursting, and his shots were the eye-catching shots. But sometimes there was more volume coming from Zelfa, maybe, and sometimes Kiko shots would be getting blocked or just missed. It was one of those kind of fights. But I did think very, very close. I didn't think Zelfa won it. I thought it was either a draw or Kiko got it. But if it, in fights like that, if it goes around either way, you can have. Do you know what I mean? But when it's just so wide one way, you think flipping out, because it was just it was one of those. And also, usually, a guy that's coming forward like that, they tend to get it. And whether it's wrong or right. Listen, I'm not one of these that thinks just because you're coming forward and you're throwing punches, you're winning the round. Because if you're throwing punches and coming forward and you're not landing, and the other guy's just sticking a jab on you, the other guy should be winning it anyway. That's boxing. It's not about who's coming forward and who's coming back, but it's just how some people prefer fighters to fight, and they're likely to have that perception that they're winning the fight. But yeah, it's a scorecards for me. That's the issue.
What needs to be done, Dave, to address the issues that
say it all the time? I must said it in about a million interviews every time this sort of thing happens. It's pointless just going around in circles. I think that judges need to be held accountable. It's a judge's opinion. Listen, boxing's an opinion. You can't say that we all have the same opinion on everything. We don't. We have different opinions on everything, and boxing is no different. And all I'm saying is, make them explain. Just let's be transparent. How did you see that fight that way? Well, because I thought Kiko rumbling forward. Yes, he was throwing the powerful shots, but I didn't think he was landing as many as Zelfa. So you got to say, if that's how you see it, and then maybe you've got a scorecard, then you say, well, that round was blatantly Kiko Martinez's round. How do you score it to Zelfa? Well, I thought this, from where I was sat, this. At least it's transparent. And then us as fans, we get to think, Okay, right, all right, I can have that. I don't agree with you, but I can have that. I've got an understanding of where your thought process is. By just being stum and nothing being said, we're left thinking, how the fuck did you get that scorecard? Oh, it's corrupt. Oh, it's this, or it's that. Because we don't know. We don't know the answers. Do you understand what I mean? I just think that that's what we need. And also, when it is blatantly, like some fights are like literally blatantly one-sided and they give it the other guy, they should be on a ban or like a sin bin sort of thing where they don't get to referee the big judge the big fights. You know, it should be like your world title level, European title level, your domestic British title level, and then everything else. And you have a pecking order, and you can drop as well as go up, sort of thing. We have to do it as fighters. So maybe something like that, have an assessment, you know, a performance assessment. But I do think that they should be held accountable. I'm not into this where, oh, you know, they don't have to explain themselves. I think everybody should have to explain themselves. If like we're discussing a corner, should they have pulled him out? They should have put it out. Should they have pulled him out? Everyone's discussing that, you know. The next time that Sean does an interview or anyone in his team does an interview, they'll be asked that question because people don't feel as though it's a problem asking a fighter, asking a coach. Well, you know, this. What do you think about that? Blah blah. If a fighter gets beat, he's got a microphone stuck in his face, asking where did it go wrong? You know, did you feel this? Could you have done this? Could whatever. So why not a judge?
Moving forwards again, diving on to this coming week, obviously Jordan Gill back in the ring versus Cesar Juarez. Talk to him about kind of this matchup because we've seen Cesar, we know that he's competed at world level before, so again, another very good step up for Jordan.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. Listen, I've said it before, pandemic, it means that you're fighting very rarely. And so you cannot just stay at the same level. You need to take the jumps, otherwise you're wasting your slot and not moving any further forward to your end goal. So we said, you know, Jordan's had 3 very good wins at domestic level in Jason Cunningham, Commonwealth champion a couple of times, Ryan Doyle to win the Commonwealth title, Reece Bellotti, another good, you know, former champion there. So he's had 3 good wins at domestic level. We don't know when we're fighting again. We get, you know, Jordan, stay in the gym. I'm keeping working, trying to get him out, get him out. Phone call goes, we're ready. You know, I've been saying to Eddie, we're ready, we're staying in the gym. You have to be ready for any call, whether it's a 6-rounder, 8-rounder, 10-rounder, 12-rounder, we're ready. And yes, we can make championship weight. We're ready. He's lived throughout Christmas and New Year, just staying up here and training, just in case. And then we got the call. So you have to take the leaps because we don't know when we're going to fight again. We need to make the people that are making decisions on when you're fighting again say, yes, he deserves another fight at this level, at that level, blah, blah. So we've took this, and Juarez is a very, very good fighter. You know, a few years ago, he was in Fight of the Year with Nonito Donaire. Give him hell. Recently, Angelo Leo and Castro is boxed, both undefeated fighters at the time. Leo 18-0, Castro 25-0. And he's giving him hell. Even if he gets beat, he's in there throwing punches, winging away body shots, head shots, take shots, come straight back. He doesn't fold willingly, you know. And he's another one of these Mexicans that you're going to know that you're in a fight. And this is a big step up for Jordan. And it's a step up he's ready for. It's a step up he's been preparing for. And so we need to take it.
How's Jordan felt throughout this camp, kind of getting back into the ring last year? Very good victory against Reece Bellotti. How is this one compared to the last one?
ability-wise, he's improved so much. Generally has improved so much. He's gone up levels. I mean, he'd improved so much for the Bellotti fight, and that's since then he's just, he's worked on different things. His mindset's so much better these days than what it was a couple of years ago. I can't knock him with anything. I'm so happy with everything he's done. All he has to do now is replicate on Saturday night. And it's not just the odd spot, it's every single spot, every single session. He's been consistent with what we've been doing. What we've been working on has been doing. He's just got to go in there and do that on Saturday night. It's about performing in the lights when it matters. And against Bellotti, he did. And now he's gone up levels again, ability-wise. Now he's got to show that again. And this is what makes champions, is each time you improve in each camp and in the gym, you then have to show it on fight night. And as the levels go up, you still have to show it on fight night. You have to raise your game with it. And that's what he has to do. And also, this is where the lessons of Tinoco come into factor. Bellotti was going to come forward throwing body shots and this, but it showed there that he was better than it was at handling those moments than what it was against Tinoco. Now it's really going to show, because this guy is the best fighter he's ever fought. This is a real test. And he's in a really good place. He just has to go out there and do it. And if he goes out there and shows me what he's been doing, then he's going to look very, very good. Don't get me wrong; it's going to be a very hard fight. It's going to be a very hard fight. Whether you, like I said, the good fighters that he's been in with, even when they've beaten Juarez, it's a tough fight. It's a hard fight. So you're in for a good fight.
Moving forward, Dave, just want to touch on a couple of fights on the card. Obviously, Kelly Avanesyan is one which everybody's been looking forward to for an absolute age now.
Yeah.
Your fourth divided, fingers crossed, everything goes to plan. We don't have any hiccups, and it does go ahead on Saturday. How does the fight play out?
Oh, I think it's a great fight. I can't wait for it. I cannot wait for it. And like everybody else, it's just all the little dimensions to it, the Neil Marsh and Adam Booth thing as well. There's so many things to this. It's been going on for so long. I'll be honest with you. I just think literally for 2 years, Josh Kelly has just been improving in the gym. I know Avanesyan has, and he's had, he's been fighting, and he's had good, very, very good wins, which has made this fight even bigger. But we tend to give Josh Kelly not me, but people, we tend to give Josh Kelly a tough time. But that's because he's flash and he's slick and he's smooth. But I always remember Adam before, when, earlier on in his career, and Adam was talking about his development, and he'd be talking to me about Josh Kelly, and he would always mention about how tough this kid was. And I was like, oh, really? I've never seen it. We've never needed to see it. And he was always saying about how he can have it, and he is not just style; he's got the substance behind it. Well, that's going to prepare him. And if that's the case, we'll see that on Saturday against Avanesyan, because there probably will be little tough moments where Avanesyan gets up close on him. But I actually genuinely think that Kelly's going to put on a clinic and just completely outbox him. I don't think he's going to fight to make it, have a tear up or anything like that. I think he's going to use his assets, and his assets take away Avanesyan's assets. And I do. I think Kelly's going to put on a very, very convincing performance, where at the end of it we could look at the fight and go, well, that was a lot easier than what we thought.
Final fight on the card I just want to touch on: Florian Marku versus Ryland Charlton. Again, another one which has been postponed a couple of times. Your thoughts, Dave?
That's a fun fight, isn't it? That's a fun fight. I'm really looking forward to that. Marku with Clifton Mitchell. That's interesting. That'd be interesting because Clifton's a good coach as well, and he'll have been looking to give a couple more dimensions to Marku, really. Because Marku, I know, Sam Jones raves about him. Yes, and yes, it punches hard, but the Marku that we've seen, I think, is just very, very basic and limited. I've only ever seen Charlton that once in his last fight, and he looked very good. But again, the guy that he was in against, it suited him. It's interesting. From what I've seen of both of them, I kind of fancy Charlton. But it depends on how much Marku's improved in the time that he's had with Clifton. I don't know. I just can't wait for it. It's going to be good. It's going to be a great fight. It really is.
Well, Dave, it's going to be a great card. Look forward to seeing Jordan back out. I hope you enjoy your time in the bubble once again when you head down. We'll leave that there, though, now. I know you said you got to go and shoot off for your session at 12:30 with Jordan, so don't want to keep him hanging around. I appreciate your time, though, mate. I'll speak to you again soon. Thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.